Kia ora, my name is Neen. I call myself the Joy Ninja because I am trying to create abundance on a teeny tiny income. This is a bit of a departure from my regular Wednesday cash stuffing. When you see this, I should be halfway through my tramp. What I thought I'd do for today is upcycle some of these. They are photo pocket thingies. Oh Lord. They're for putting your photos in. Albums. Thank you, Neen. Thanks, Brain. So these are photo albums. I am from a generation where we used to print our photos out and put them in albums rather than just keeping them online. So I'm hoping you've got one of these kicking around at home, and if you haven't, you can go and like maybe ask your parents if they've got a spare one, or if you really need to go and spend some money, just check out the $2 shop first, or an op shop, or even Harvey Norman if you're in New Zealand. Their photo centre still sells these and they're extremely cheap. I kind of want to say they're $2, but don't quote me on that. All right, so you can keep them as they are, or, you know, like this isn't really to my taste. It's very 90s though. Groovy. So, what to put inside these? Well, the obvious choice is scrapbooking paper. But again, if you don't have that readily available, don't go out and buy anything. There's some other options. I bought these file folders in the clearance section at Warehouse Stationery, and I think the packet of 6 was $1.98. So maybe you've got an old file folder kicking around. The good thing about this is it's a similar kind of weight to that. This is more scrapbooking paper, but it's much thinner than that first piece with the houses on it. So I would actually glue it onto that to give it a bit of structure. If you're not into craft, you don't have any scrapbooking, anything kicking around, you might have some magazines. And this is a crossword book that I've done very little of. I'm going to take it away with me though. And things like this, or even this, would make an amazing front cover. It's a shame it's that way rather than that way. There were also some, like that door could be good. Oh, here we go. So this is like a close-up of an artist's canvas, and the back side of that is kind of pretty. You probably can't see it, but it's got really faint little dots. And I quite like the idea of that because you could rule lines and do like a little planner on the inside. So I think I'm going to go with that. If you don't have stuff like that, there's always free magazines. Like this is from Rosine, and I always love the colours and stuff, and they've got pretty inspirational houses, I guess. So there's that. Palmy Proud, also a freebie. This is really nice paper, and it's got some really beautiful pictures of gardens and stuff, so this could work really well for you. And from the op shop, but you might have some old magazines. Frankie magazines are kind of right up there for perfect. They've often got pull out, like this had wrapping paper, but that's been pulled out. I didn't buy this new, I got it at a resource centre, but I still think some of this could be like that, maybe could be used. Okay, so let's put those aside. Let's get cutting. Now all you really need is the original thing and you can draw around it. So I'm just using a pencil and some scissors. I'm actually going to go that way. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to go this way so I can get to. So personal finance. Really, when it boils down to it, in the most simplified form, personal finance is just money goes in, money goes out, what's left over falls into the realm of savings or wealth or net worth or financial freedom, financial independence. There's a lot of different labels and jargon around finance, and I don't find all of that necessarily useful. The good news is you don't need to understand all of that to do cash stuffing. Cash stuffing is really pretty straightforward. Money comes into your envelopes, that's the money you've got to spend. When you've spent in a category, that's it. I suppose you can take money out of other envelopes if you want to, but yeah. So you have to start with, I feel terrible saying this, you have to start with a budget, like a written down budget, or by tracking your expenses, or by doing both. And believe you me, that was my stumbling block to getting started with cash stuffing, and it was my stumbling block before cash stuffing in trying to save money. I became so, where the frick is the opening? I became so obsessed with getting the budget, well, not obsessed, hyper-focused I think is the right, it's there. I became so hyper-focused with getting my numbers right and getting the budget perfectly to add up that I never kind of really moved on to the doing the thing, and that I wonder if that's the same for a lot of people who don't really love maths, people who feel like they're just keeping their head above water but they're really not saving anything, and and that's soul destroying. And I can totally understand why doing a budget, sitting down and doing a budget, sounds really boring and like not a fun time. So I get that. Maybe we need to call budgets like, we need a rebrand on budget. Could it be your financial illuminator? All a budget is, it's not telling yourself off or pointing out your flaws. A budget's there just as a map towards your goals. See? Already, to me, that looks really nice and I want to use it. Let's do this one. Let's have a look in Frankie. Let's have a look in this one. Check her out. Arr. So yeah, let's call it whatever you like. You've got to have some sense of where your money's going, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't get sucked into the perfectionism and using that as an excuse to not move forward and like action your budget, if you know what I mean. The thing is, budgets will just tell you, or like tracking your accounts will just tell you where you spend your money. And oh, cute dresses. I know for a lot of people, this is what I'm going to do. For a lot of people, it's horrible. It feels absolutely awful coming face to face with where you spent your money last month. Ooh. But it's important to ask yourself not just where you're spending your money or what you're spending your money on, but why. So the why is the important thing that I needed to figure out. Once I knew why I was spending money on certain things, it either fit into my overall goals or it didn't. I think so many of us are completely unconscious when it comes to spending money. And I don't blame you. I think with modern life, advertising everywhere, and to a certain extent, a lot of kind of banking products and modern conveniences are all geared up to make spending money super duper easy and unconscious. You know, things like Apple Pay and one-touch purchase and saving your credit details into your computer so that you can speed through checkout. They're all modern inventions to help you spend your money. And I mean, I'm not coming out with a judgment here about that. I'm just pointing out that their purpose is not to make your life easier. Their purpose is to help part you from your cash and reduce this is marketing speak, reduce the barriers to you purchasing, to make it easier. So I think the thing to ask yourself would be, are you okay with that? Again, there's no judgment there, and I'm not saying, banks are evil, but this is the world that we live in. Consumerism exists and persists because it's easy to spend money. I might come back and put something cute on there, like a sticker or something. Ooh. Could that be cool? Yeah, maybe. All right, so I'm not coming out with a judgment and railing against consumerism. You know, you can have your own thoughts on that. And I'm not saying don't spend money, because... Can you stop doing that? I'm not saying don't ever spend money, because that's how economies work, right? Kind of reliant on people spending money. And it keeps a lot of us in paid employment. Yeah, so there's that. All I am saying is just become curious about all those ways that you spend so easily. Oh, as a side note, is it just me, or do you get annoyed when you go and research something? You go on a website that you've not been on before, or you just click onto a website, like a shop or something, and you've been there like 10 seconds, and up pops this box with this deal, get $10 off your order by putting your email in here. That kind of thing. Freaking annoys me. Am I just being a grumpy old cow? Probably. But, here's the thing. My email is private information. I think we forget this. I think we just throw our email. Oh, yeah, I might want to buy from here. I'll get that voucher. There's a cost to putting your email address in. lots of different websites. And the first is obviously you're going to get more emails because you're on their emailing list then. And you could say, oh, yeah, but Neen, I can just unsubscribe. But the thing is, you've signed up to an emailing list, and how many of us read the fine print? You don't know, but they could be selling your details on to someone else. And that has definitely happened to me. I started getting daily marketing emails from this fashion brand. I was like, I've never bought anything from you. I've never looked at your web. What is going on? Well, I did a bit of digging, and they were like owned by the same company that owned a brand I was interested in buying things from. I'm like, oh, so I shared my email details thinking I was just getting emails from this one fashion label, but actually everything in that group of brands was sending me emails. Quite like that. That's quite cute. Let's have a look at this sticker situation. So, there is a cost to giving your email out. Apart from the obvious, you're going to be spammed with a lot of emails. There's also the fact that you're being spammed with the fear of missing out, because, yeah, like it or not, even if you just open them to scan them, quite often then you get struck with that, the disappointment of, well, oh, I can't afford that, or I need that, but I haven't got the money for that. That's really annoying. I'm going to do that one, but I'm going to reverse them. Okay. Yeah, so you have that fear of missing out, and you have that constant pressure, temptation to overspend. So yeah, I just consider that now when I sign up for emails. I think about, is it really worth me putting my email address in here? Am I certain I'm going to be spending on this? Am I going to be a long-term customer? Do I really need to be getting emails every time they're having a sale? I mean, some are dreadful, aren't they? They send you emails like 4 times a week. I'm just like, no. That is not for me. Thank you. Let us not forget that through the power of the internet, we can buy anything we need pretty much any time. We don't really need to be signing up for future deals. If you need something in the future, just go get it in the future at the best price that you can find. Wait for Boxing Day. I always think with appliances and big purchases like that, beds, always try and hang out for Boxing Day if you can, or for the end of January. Often beds are on sale there because uni students, so they often do some deals. Yep, that's cute. And this one, I'm just going to put positive vibes on it. So what about if you're in debt? I was in debt. I'm not anymore, but I spent a really good proportion of my life being in debt, consolidating it to a new loan, racking that up, taking out more debt. You know, I just seem to be on a debt kind of roller coaster. I could never quite pay it all off. And I'd have periods where I was really good and, you know, I was saving a lot of money, and then something would happen. I'd have to move flats. Moving is so expensive, isn't it? That's my number one tip, is to just try and find a place where you can be for a fairly good period of time. I know that's not necessarily the easiest thing. Now landlords can chuck you out for no reason because of that new law change, but yeah, try and do, you know, like think really hard when you're looking at flats. Find somewhere that's warm, dry, close to all the services that you need to use, you know, close to a supermarket, close to your work, library if you like the library, that kind of thing, close to school, because it will save you petrol money. And that's got to be good for you. I would even pay a little bit more to live in the suburb. That meant that I didn't have to use my car every day. That's something to think about. Right, so that's in there. I think the thing with debt is I started to see it as past me. No, let's say that again. I started to see it as my budget today was paying for past me's choices and present me's choices. So there was nothing left over for future me. And that seemed like a situation that was really depressing. And it meant that I buried my head in the sand and I didn't want to look at my accounts because they weren't good. And because I felt sad about my finances, one of my coping mechanisms is to go spend money. Like, you know, I'm not a hoarder. I don't have a house full of stuff with the tags on. If that's you, I'm really sorry that's going on. You know, like, there are professionals that help with that. I'm not equipped, and I have all the sympathy for you. I'm just talking about like little things. I'd noticed little triggers of buying extra stuff in the groceries. You know, like treat yourself, or having a hard day and kind of just wandering into like my local pharmacy has gifts, and you know, ending up buying like pretty hair ties or earrings or a mascara that I didn't really go in there to buy because I needed that thing. It was just, you know, I wanted the hit. So, you know, don't come for me. I'm just trying to say I think that's really, really common, and it's a way of kind of avoiding dealing with the here and now. And I mean, we come back to this budget. I know it's such a sucky thing, but it'll be the best thing that you ever did. Do a budget. I suggest sorted.org.nz, just because you can do pen and paper if you want, but the sorted one takes you through a really quick questionnaire. They ask you a few details about your lifestyle, and then they make up a budgeting sheet with lines on there for things that you would need. So if you've got a mortgage, they'll put lines in there for, you know, rates. If you are renting, that won't be there. Make sense? So there's that, and it also does all the maths for you, so you don't have to like use a calculator or anything. You can just do it on your phone. You might need to look into your bank accounts to work out, you know, what your bills cost, but you pop it in that form and it can give you a guide as to how close your incoming is to your expenses, your outgoing, and see if there's a gap there. That gap is savings or wealth or net worth or financial freedom. That's that space in the middle that cash stuffers kind of seek to seek to tweak and work with. Like, you know, it's a very simple mathematical equation, so don't be put off by like all the different labels and names for things. You know, finance people are a bit like lawyers. You know, economists are a bit like lawyers. They have some really fancy pants names for concepts that are actually probably more common sense than anything else. That's just my opinion. Right, so at this point I was going to show you how to do, we've got, hopefully you've got your little cash binder going by now, and if this gets full you can just put a hair tie around it. You can get some pretty, like, put your scrunchie around it, whatever. I was going to show you this. This shape here is a printable cash envelope, and it comes from carrieellis.com. There you go. So funny story, I went to go and pull this out because I printed it and it was in black and white, and it was like a colouring in page here with pretty flowers. I used my nice Sharpies on it, and I laminated and cut it out. I had this in a pink travel wallet, and it's not in my drawer. I think it was actually stolen. So yeah. The asses stole my savings challenges. It was quite fat with savings challenges. I'm pretty sure they thought they were making off with money, so sorry, fool. Instead of doing that, we could look at file folder. This one here. Oh, yep. If I make it about the same size as my cash envelope, it doesn't quite get 2 in there, but that's okay. Oh. Yep, so if you are in debt, I feel for you. Your first thing to do is to make a budget and work out, you know, that you've got enough to be paying the minimum payments on it, and just worry about that until you've answered this question. Do you have enough to live off after you've paid your minimum debts? If you don't, then that is an emergency, and you, I highly recommend you going and talking to a budget advisor. They are free in New Zealand, and I will link some websites down below, or you can just Google Citizens Advice Bureau in your area and ask them and see what numbers they can throw up for you. I work with a budget advisor. There's no shame in this. The only thing I will say is she did my budget for me on an Excel spreadsheet, and it was all fancy and cool and whatnot, and she came and saw me a couple of times. At the end of the process, she said to me, well, you don't have enough money left over to save. And that made me feel really, really stink. But I kept going with my research, and that took me to cash stuffing. And I wish you could see me now, because I'm saving some money, lady. So just remember, it is your budget. These are your choices. So don't let anyone tell you that there's no room to save. That's just not true. Even if you just do your groceries and fuel in cash and save the change. And I know people are like, oh, but I want to use the voucher and this, that, and the other. I go to MPD on a Wednesday when they have the sign out the front that's either 15 or 20 cents off litre, and I give them $50 and they give me change, and it's usually a couple of gold coins. So it's possible. Right, let's come to this idea of pay yourself first. That's kind of a jargony thing. Let me explain. The words aren't jargon. Pay yourself first sounds okay, yeah. But when you tell someone like me who grew up in poverty and had very much a scarcity mindset, to me that sounds like buy everything you hope and need before the money runs out. So I used to pay myself first, and that meant going to the hairdresser, getting my nails done. I was in my early 20s at this time, and I worked in a corporate office, so, there was a dress code and heels and suits and all of that. So paying myself first kind of chewed through my budget, and then the last week, because I was paid monthly, the last week I would literally be on the bones of my ass. Yeah, it would be emergency, and be hanging out for that pay to come through, and then boom, the cycle starts all over again. And then when you add, having a store card and a credit card into that, it just got slowly sunk deeper and deeper into my debt. So don't be me. If you are in debt, it's really important to create a balanced budget and make sure that you have enough money set aside to pay not only this week's bills, but a little bit to pay for your future expenses. And that's basically what sinking funds are. Sinking funds are recognising that you have bills that come up infrequently, maybe once a year. You need to do your warrant and registration. So that then they're not immediate, so they're not stressing you out at this moment. But when they become due, if you have to pay for them all in 1 week and you haven't saved anything, that's where it becomes stressy. I've just got bog standard packing tape too. Ugh. Yep. Now you can be cute and use like washi tape and stuff. I would just say if you're going to use washi tape, put it on with glue stick, because not all washi tape is super sticky. And I find, once it heats up, that the glue can unstick and it can be a mess. So I use packing tape here. Keep trying to cut the flipping thing off. That's not ideal. Yay, did it. Yep, so the main takeaways from this are you have to do a budget. If budgets scare you, call it something else. Go and do it on sorted. It takes the maths element out of it and the guesswork element out of it, but also know that your budget doesn't have to be perfect to work. Just work with the information that you've got to hand and do the best that you can today and work with that. But know that you're probably going to have to tweak it and change it, and things will crop up. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, I have that yearly subscription to Calm name that I completely forgot. Renews next month, so that's going into the budget now. I'd forgotten about that. All right, so that's my cash envelope. You've got a hole punchy thing. You could hole punch it. I'll show you one thing down here. This is where I keep all my full page trackers. And these were freebies. That one's from, help me out, who does that? Two Sister Bees. Right. So, what's to stop you putting hole punching that and sticking it in there, in between all your different trackers, and then, it's a nice way to keep your money, isn't it? You could also, I would probably cut this down a little bit, but you could put this in your wallet. Put a little label or a sticker on there so you know what's what. Just because we've got that up there, I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Grab my ruler. I'm so lazy. Yep. Let's make some things to go in your wallet. I think the lines on this are helping me heaps. So yeah, can't get away from budgeting. Whether you're going to keep your money online or take all your money out and cash stuff it, or a blend. I do a blend because I recognise that, you know, some things are better paid online. APs are a thing. I don't want to be going back and forth to the bank. In fact, it costs you money here in New Zealand. You know, I kind of marvel at these American cash stuffers who are going to the bank, and I'm thinking, do they not get charged every time that they go to the bank? Because it's literally like $3 to give my money to the bank. I get one chance a month, I think, and then they charge me to take my money. Yeah, I don't understand, but anywho, we come back to modern conveniences, right? So many banking products are created to make it more convenient for us, but actually it's all about maximizing profit for them, because keeping a banking branch open costs money. You know, you've got the wages of the person, you've got the lease on the shop, you've got to keep your power on, all those kinds of things. So if they can do away with like actual physical branches, they're making more money. I mean, they still have people to help you. I realise that, I understand that, but you know, they can be on a phone, they can be anywhere. You know, they don't have to live in your town. All right, so these make good little envelopes, doodads or dividers. Let's cut them down a little bit. Yeah, let's cut that much off. I hope I'm giving you some ideas about how to do this without fancy tools. I do have fancy tools and I'm itching to use them, but yeah, I don't need to. Scissors is good. A ruler would be handy. Pencil. Maybe some glue, but I haven't used glue. Packing tape is a must. There we go. And this is just to make it look cute, because I engage with cute things. Makes me want to do them, right? This is going to be too tall now, but you could slip those in there. Or you could slip them in your wallet, which I don't have handy, but you know, you can imagine me slipping it in your tray wallet. I wonder if these would... Oh, look. You can make dividers, although this slips in from the top. So there's that. The last thing I wanted to show you is, forgive the, well, I've got to find it first. Please forgive the shameless plug of my own products, but you know, as an example, I have some freebies on my Buy Me a Coffee. Lots of other people have freebies too, and it's just up to you. what looks good. This is a debt tracker. This is an emergency fund tracker too. If you are new to cash stuffing, or in 2024 you want to like take control of your finances, even if you don't put money in binders, download these and use them to track getting rid of your debt and creating an emergency fund. If you have debt and you don't have anything saved from the end of the week, like you get to the end of your pay period and your bank balance is a few cents, emergency fund, that's an emergency. That is an absolute emergency. You need to become curious about why you're spending money, not just, you need to get to the bottom of where it's going for starters, and then ask yourself, why am I spending that money? Is that really important to me, or is it sort of an unconscious habit that I might need to address because it doesn't serve future me? No judgment here, just something to think about. Your next thing to do will be to get onto a budgeting service. They are free in New Zealand. Please, please, please go do that process. I know budgeting can be painful to begin with, but remind yourself, it's not like a diet. You're not restricting yourself. You are just working out and writing on paper what's really important to you. And you're prioritizing that stuff instead of just kind of like being at the mercy of consumerism. So becoming an educated consumer is the third thing. Just be aware that banking products and like Apple Pay, one-touch purchases, email deals, pop-up sales, vouchers that spring up when you go onto a website, all of that marketing is all designed to build profit for the company by you spending your money and reducing the barriers to you spending your money. So just be aware of that and make that decision. Am I okay with that? Signing up for subscriptions and email lists, there is a cost involved in that. So I think rather than just unconsciously throwing your name onto something and thinking, oh yeah, I can unsubscribe later, I think realistically, how often do we do that? If you are in debt, I feel for you. You need to make a plan. Just think about it. The money that you are getting now, present you is getting, is paying for past you's choices. When you're out of debt, present you money is paying for present expenses and creating a future for future you. And doesn't that sound better? If you have debt and you don't have any money in a sinking fund, 1 month ahead, emergency savings, just something put by, then just pay the minimums. This is your emergency. Not having an emergency fund is an emergency. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, people make this so complicated, but personal finance is basically income coming in, expenses going out. What is left in the middle is what you can save. It's your wealth, it's your net worth, it's your freedom, your stability, and it allows you to make choices. I'll just leave you with the idea of, while we put some packing tape on this, this is the no laminator version. Whoop. It's that easy. I'll just leave you with the idea of wealth. I mean, really stop and think about this. What does wealth mean to you? What does a wealthy person look like? It's not for me to tell you your definition of wealth. Ah, dang it. I've got a little bit of a... Oh, I got it out. I think I missed a bit in the middle though. Okay. You won't have a camera over your head that's obscuring your view. Well, that's all we do. Ta-da! She laminated. So as well, having a batch in the Bay of Islands, driving an Audi, or is it being able to choose the job that you work in, being able to negotiate your hours, your pay, your time off, as well as being able to turn up to your kids' sports days, being able to buy a family member a ticket to come down and visit you when they're not doing well and they need some cheering up. Wealth is being able to be generous with your friends. Generous with yourself. To me, my wealth is maintaining a healthy, pain-free body and being able to afford to invest in that. Okay, that was a super long video. I am going to have a lot of cutouts, a lot. So I'm sorry, it's really choppy.